Welcome back to Fabulous Mana Short. Today we're going to go ahead and be doing a video for our patrons. This is going to be the video for January for the patrons that I have helping support me through this venture. I sound weirdly recorded in that and fake, but I really do appreciate everyone who wants to support me in making these videos and kind of get some fun cards in return and everything like that. Today we're going to be opening the core set for 2020. Now that it's officially 2020 for January, it just felt like the right thing to do. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in here and get started. Now I know that core 2020 is not everybody's favorite set, and it's just a core set, so it doesn't get all the flashy talk about and attention and everything like that. But it's really felt to me like there was some really good kind of fundamentals in here that they pulled through that weren't really in Core 19. There's also some things that I feel they left out that would have come through and done a lot better with the sets, with Eldrine and sticking with Spark and all of those. So it's a bit of a trade, I get it. Core 19 was a pretty solid core set, where Core 20, it's a core set. I mean, and that's just where it's kind of left at. There's nothing really amazing in there, except those few cards, 2, 3 bombs in here that really mixed well into other packs. So it is what it is, but I enjoyed it. I do love the elemental theme that they have driven throughout it. That is one of the pieces that I have come to enjoy. How about you? What do you think of Core 19 so far? Are you wrapping it up like Mr. Mummy here? Trying to forget it exists until something better comes along, or you give up on it? Has it been totally worth your time? I mean, what do you think? I kind of am interested in knowing. And not even kind of, I'm actually interested in knowing what you feel about Core 2020. Happy New Year, by the way, to everyone on my channel and all of my patrons. Looking forward to a fun year of being able to open boxes with you, see what comes along. Hopefully it won't be an ending to my tale. Hopefully this will be a great year and everything will just get better. People have been always asking, what's your resolution? It's the New Year's, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of gave up on resolutions. I realized that resolutions for me were kind of fickle. And they just kind of cleansed their way out of my life. No, every time I made a resolution, it felt like I was trying to guilt myself into keeping it. So instead, I stopped making resolutions in general and decided that instead of making resolutions each year, I would spend the entire year trying to work on something and in a positive manner by the next year. And it wasn't something that I decided ahead of time. It was something like as the year went on, I kind of just do this, well, this is something I'm not enjoying. Let's change it. Let's make this part of my life different. Never really focusing on it as a New Year's thing. Never berating myself if I couldn't stick to it. Steel Overseer and Foil Blood Burglar. And that works for me. Like, I don't like guilt tripping myself into stuff like, you must have a resolution. You don't. You don't have to have a resolution. You have to enjoy life. That's as much as possible. You're not going to enjoy every second and every day. That's just how life really works. At least as far as I've been able to figure out. If you know better, if you know the secret, please let me know. I may have just been doing it wrong this whole time. Who knows? Anyway, do you have resolutions? I have nothing against resolutions. I just personally don't do them. But I am curious to know what resolutions you've given yourself for the year. Lexodon, Life Charge, Chanter. Okay. I just talked myself into a silent corner, didn't I? That was awkward. These packs are not opening very well. That's okay. So, like several of my other videos recently, this one is being pre-recorded. I'm just kind of going through my head pretending. Chandra's Regulator and Molder Vine Reclamation. Nice. Sorry. I'm just kind of going ahead, you know, like, okay, this is for January, so obviously we're going to have resolutions. I already know how that's going to pan out for me. And I'm always looking forward to a new year. I'm always looking forward to the current year. It's just something it is. If you hadn't realized, or you're just coming in on this video, the reason I'm pre-recording and kind of getting these things out of the way so I have one less thing to worry about is that I have a shoulder surgery coming up at the time of this recording. It'll be a month past by the time I put this recording out. But there's a lot of stuff they're going to do, and they're kind of looking, or they're kind of telling me that I'm looking at a recovery time from the surgery that could be in the scheme of months. There's the Cavalier of the Dawn. Let's see if we can pull all the Cavaliers out of this box. So with, you know, recovery time looking at months, and that's recovery before they want me using PT, going through physical therapy. And it's like 3 to 6 months is what they have said. And there is an absolute month or two where they're going to want my arm in a sling. They're not going to want me opening packs, sorting through stuff. I'm going to be bored. I'm going to be really bored because that also means I can't play video games or do a lot of, you know, drafting or playing Magic or anything unless I just absolutely sit there one-handed, which I don't think I could have the patience for learning that skill, knowing it's only a temporary skill. But who knows? The only way I'm going to find out what's going to happen is by actually going through it. By February, I might be right back to doing these. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to being able to pre-record February's Patreon opening, so I might have to muddle through that one, even if it's a little bit difficult for me. But we'll see. Just went in circles on that. I might be a little nervous about this upcoming surgery, and really hoping that people are enjoying the videos in the meantime. And, oh, well, let's just skip to a foil Broker of Blood. And our regular, oh, we got a Mythic, which is not another Cavalier, but it is a Hidden Hand. Okay. That was a awkward pack opening. Somehow managed to jump and do stuff weird. Probably because I'm talking in circles to you, which it happens. I don't know, core set's fun. I think core set is really fun for drafting with friends. Not as much when you're actually power drafting against people who really know what they're doing, and can pretty much take anything and make a combo out of it that you didn't realize was happening. There does seem to be a few of those people at my local game store. And it can be intimidating. It can really be intimidating. I know how that feels, to be able to not see the combinations coming out of the packs as they're being passed around the table, and to be able to pull stuff like that that goes together. It takes a really specific mindset, and a real understanding of the cards in a way that not everybody really does. Dawn of Dreams and a Pack Master foil. We're going to put that with the other lands. Okay. I think for all of the drafting in this, I never actually pulled the Ajani. I am realizing that right now. Just looking at the front of these packs going, I don't remember Ajani being in here. And then I remembered losing to Ajani a couple times. I just never pulled an Ajani, which is a little disappointing. Got a Temple of Empathy. Are we going to get all the lands in the set? Is that what it's going for? Yeah, maybe. Just stick it right there in case. I like seeing what combos come out of here. So, of course, like always, this is being open... sorry, let me restart that sentence. Of course, like usual, I split these up for my patrons, send stuff out to them out of every box that I open for the patrons themselves each month. And that's one box per level for the patrons. At the point that I'm at now, I'm just selecting a random card from between the mythic and the rares to send out to my patrons. So any one of those cards that comes out with the mythic or rare symbol on it could end up going to a patron. It's a random selection. I mix them all together and kind of look at a name, pick a card, write it on a note card, stick it in an envelope, address them later. That's, I mean, pretty simple and straightforward right there. Last month I had a pretty awesome set of cards that I went through. I pulled a lot of Planeswalkers. And I do believe last month I ended up sending the Karn out. That Planeswalker is the random one that got selected and sent out to my patron at the time. And that's awesome. Not complaining there. Karn is, I mean, he would have fetched me a pretty penny, all of $10 worth, I think, to go towards future boxes and stuff. And that's kind of why I have the patron set up, is so that I can make sure that I keep getting these boxes, that I can keep going through, making the videos, and really having fun doing it and opening them with you. If you're interested in becoming a patron, even though I'm totally stumbling on my words in this video, that happens. But you can totally go ahead and check it out. I have the link below in the description. If you're not sure, but you do want to kind of consider it because, you know, it's fun, you're enjoying it, or you're having fun laughing your ass off at the way I talk or something like that, go ahead and subscribe. Follow some of more of these videos, see if I keep you entertained. If I do, it might be worth you becoming a patron and knowing that while you're having all this entertainment, you can go ahead and also get something out of it every once in a while. By every once in a while, I mean once a month. Or more. If I start hitting high levels of patronage sign up, I might do some special things to close out those levels. Make sure I get enough people signed up. But in the short term, it would really help out if you just go ahead and subscribe. I mean, subscribe and mute my channel even if you really want to. That sounds vindictive and I apologize, but I think you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. All right, going through these. I feel like I need a POV camera so I can lean back in an armchair and just open packs with some weird picture in the background hanging on my wall. I don't know, that might be a little much, maybe not. Yep, we got a Chandra. We got a foiled Tranquil Cove with a Tranquil Cove. It's always fun when that happens. You're like, oh, look at the foiled land. That's the land right behind it. What do you think about this Chandra thing? The uncommon, rare, and mythic versions of the Chandra in the same set, as opposed to putting in a bunch of different planeswalkers, kind of making this set about her development from the acolyte or novice to acolyte to master. Personally, I don't know. I've kind of had mixed feelings on it back and forth. Sorry, that card feels extra thick. And we got our second Cavalier and a Herald of the Sun foil. Awakened Inferno emblem. Yeah, I'm kind of mixed. I like seeing the progression, seeing how, Chandra was there and how she's gotten stronger over the years. At the same time, I think it kind of took up a lot of Planeswalker space in a set that she's kind of supported if you go elemental, but she feels out of place to me. In this whole core set, Chandra actually feels a little out of place. I don't know if that's just me or if others have felt it. I think it kind of goes for all the Planeswalkers in this set. They feel kind of just shoved in there. Gravedigger's Cage and a foiled Gift of Paradise. So yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm coming off War with the Spark still, and I'm loved all of the static abilities they gave the Planeswalkers and thought they might carry those through, so that Planeswalkers would just have abilities that affected the field, like enchantments. And it doesn't really seem they're going to do that, or as they moved forward with the core set, they didn't, at least. So I don't know. I mean, the Sorin, yeah, but there's not a lot of vampire to go with him. I can't remember her name now. You can all yell at me in the comments below. I'm sure somebody will be like, oh my god, how can you forget it? But she's a beautiful Planeswalker, but she feels out of place. Something doesn't quite line up with her. At least with the Ajani, there was a lot of lifelink stuff put in there. Kind of strengthened and bolstered through that. We got our Novice Pyromancer Chandra going. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. To each their own, I guess. I mean, it really could be that I'm just still coming off War of the Spark after being on for so long and really enjoying how the set was balanced as far as cost and power to the Planeswalkers, so that they were an added effect, they were an added piece that went back and forth. And they fit in the set. I think that's the biggest thing that really resonates with me, is that with Spark, the Planeswalkers really fit in the set. And with the Core 20, they kinda don't. I'm just gonna keep repeating that if I stick on it, so let's not. How about we pull a foil mythic? That would be great for this pack. Give me something else to talk about. Nope, well, we do have a Diamond Knight sitting in there. He's a fun one. I have learned that he is a card that is best played expecting to be destroyed. I have actually started using him in decks where I want to draw attention away from other cards that I'll be playing or have played. And I'll put him out because I know people will focus on him. They'll take him out and make sure he is not a factor for the rest of the game, whether or not I set him up to be bolstered. And it's kind of fun when that happens. Like, they just see him, they know he can get strong, so they take him out. When really the real threat was the other card sitting there that is going to just bolster and protect itself. Shifting Ceratops, first rare I pulled out of this set when I did the pre-release. Diamond Knight along with the Spell Weird from Spark is also a fun combo because they both just rack up the, those things. The counters. as you cast spells around them. Golos, Tyrus Pilgrim. I do love Golos. On Arena, I am playing him as my commander for a set that's based around Adapt. And he's not a big player in that adaptation thing. It's really nice to be able to trigger him if I don't have an immediate play and just have those 3 extra cards that can go straight onto the field. No questions asked. And people, I mean, he's 5 for 3/5. Get a search for an extra land card. The whole adapt thing I have set up really is set up to pull out a lot of land really quickly, a lot of card draw, just to get everything on the field. And the more that's on the field, the stronger it all gets. You start seeing synergy cards and, you know, tap to make creature adapt as if it didn't have any counters on it and things like that. And the green ley line I actually have in there to start giving everything counters. I don't know. It's a fun commander deck. Or I guess it's not commander. I guess I'm playing it Brawl, because that's what's on Arena is Brawl, which is a 60 card singleton deck with a commander. Oh, well, we got the Chandra Trio. Nothing to scoff at there. There we go. Awakened Inferno. I mean, at least this spell can't be countered. She has a little bit of a static. So do you guys play any of the Brawl? I still haven't gotten into Commander. I don't know how different it is from the Brawl setup. Or if that's worth berating me or not at this point. But I do like the concept. I do like the way that, you know, you get one of each spell. You have a powerhouse that you can bring out even if it's at a higher cost as it goes. But it's singleton. And I seem to do decently at building singleton decks. As long as I'm battling other singletons. Things that work together in an overall theme. But when it comes to building full decks, I start falling short somehow. I know that sounds weird. And I don't know if it's just the way my mind works. Like, oh, I can have 4. I should have 4. Even though I probably could get away with 2 or 1. And then I make a deck that's too big and I cut out the wrong things to get it down to size. It could just be my whole process. I might have great options set up in there that I just cut wrong. Or thought about wrong originally. Who knows? But I do have a friend that keeps trying to get me to play Commander with them. We just haven't had the time to line up our schedules to do so. So I'm hoping that'll happen before too long, even though, you know, like I said before, at the time of this video, I'm prepping and getting ready to go in for a surgery on my shoulder, so we'll see. Maybe I'll just have so much time to read up on it, I'll understand how to play it completely by the time I actually can play again. There we go, Temple of Mystery. We are getting a decent set of the temples. It's nothing to scoff at, I believe. Found it interesting that you gain a life off the common ones and you scry off the rare ones, but they didn't do a set of uncommon dual lands. Like, I think they could have added this one scries, this one gains a life, and an uncommon, I don't know. maybe the uncommon should have scryed and the rare ones should have drawn a card, or... I mean, can you imagine the price spike in those? If you get to play a card, or play a land for free, and when that land goes into play, you draw a card. Mega Holding got D&D going and brought back rare foil. Huh, I kind of like that idea. Might not be able to play it that turn for the mana, but at least you get a card out of it to replace the one that just left your hand. Be a really powerhouse moment in the beginning, opening moves, but also later on in the game would be a great piece. I would change the fetch land decks up a little bit, because getting those out would mean you get to draw additional cards as you go. And I think that's 4 of the ley lines. Pardon me. That is 1 little ley line, 2 little ley lines, 3 little ley lines. Skolos, you don't get a play on the ley lines. I think there's the black ley line. Did I get the blue one and not pay attention earlier? You're going to comment and tell me before I get to it, right? No, I did not get the blue ley line yet. And we are down to like 6 packs to try and get the blue ley line to complete that. I don't think we're going to be able to complete a set of Cavaliers out of this. Keep looking at that Cavalier Gales and totally got burnt on that on Arena from a bug. Somebody had played Hushbringer. And it was, I had played the card, it triggered the first time around, only the cards that went on top of my library when I went to draw were not on top of my library anymore. So I didn't get those cards, and that shifted the whole results of the game, because they were exactly what I needed. And I had cards to draw that next round, so they would have all been in my hand. And then I returned it, or it got sent back to my hand. They played Hushbringer and sent this back to my hand, and when I replayed it, the enters the battlefield, it did not draw 3 cards and let me put them back on top of my library. Or no, it did not let me draw 3 cards, but then it tried to force me to put 2 cards on top of my library, even though I didn't get to draw any. So the second half of the enters the battlefield triggered despite being Hushbringer on the field. Not to mention the wave effects, special effects that they have for this particular card did not stop for the rest of the game. But I ended up not only losing the 2 cards that were put on top of there ahead of time, but then having to lose 2 cards out of my hand in order to continue playing the round. And that was a very frustrating game. I would have probably won it. I can't say for sure that I absolutely would have. I don't know what was in their hand. They did have 3 cards, and they were on a pretty decent draw deck. And we all had a ton of mana at that point. But it was frustrating. It was frustrating having that backfire on me twice in the same game to the same opponent. Once because of a general bug where it didn't actually give me the cards on top of the library, and the other because of a bug with the Hellbringer. Tell how I feel about it now, Floridian and all. Hushbringer. And that's fine. When I played it the second time, I was actually expecting not to have that trigger. I was playing it for the 5/5. On the field, 5/5 flying, because they didn't have any flying except Hushbringer at that point. So they would have had to chosen to either sacrifice their Hushbringer or continue taking 5 damage. Okay. That is a draft winner, as it was described to me in one of the last Core 20 drafts that I took. Needless to say, when that all happened on Arena, I then suddenly learned how to report bugs properly. Masterful replication. It was kind of frustrating. Like, in no way did that even mimic the way the mechanics should have worked between the two cards, and really showed off some of the spots that they weren't paying attention when they were setting everything up. Because here it's separated by a comma. What that tells me is in the text, in the game, they separated that by a period or by a new line, which means Hushbringer didn't cancel out the second part of the effect that is actually all part of one effect. At least that's my assumption, as I have not delved into the source code of the game itself and will not be. And there we go. Out of all of that, we have a full set of ley lines. Thank you for distracting my rambles, because I would have continued that for a while. So we got the full set of ley lines. We did not get the set of temples. I believe there is one missing. I'll double check that, but I believe there is a red, blue, maybe it's white-green. Maybe it's the white-green that's missing. Ha. Either way, didn't get that. We did get one of each of the Chandras at least. A couple of the Cavaliers. This foil brought back, I think, is actually one of the better cards that came out of these pulls today, as far as monetary value. But overall, not too bad. Again, lots of people don't seem to like Core 20. I can see why. It's not a powerhouse set like a lot have been recently. I feel it's even less powerful overall than Core 19 was. But there are some nice cards in it. And the Leyline set coming out of a single box, not going to complain. Alright, well, thank you for watching Fievel's Mana Short. I will be pulling one of these rares or mythics out to go ahead and send off to the Patreon or patrons, depending on how many that I have at this point. You have a great day. Thanks.